India and Iran signed 10-year agreement for the operation of Chabar port, marking a significant milestone in their cooperation.
G20 लोगों भारत के राष्ट्रीय तिरंगे से प्रेरित है.
I feel that it is not just a constitutional right, but also a responsibility towards our nation to go and vote.
G20 is an intergovernmental forum for economic cooperation. Basically, it provides the financial funding for each and everything that is governed in.
Why Panipat was stage for so many empire-shaking battle. So first of all, it's gonna be short and simple. I'm gonna say it in 3 steps.
Good morning everybody, this is Simran Rathor. I am here to talk about the recent agreement conducted between India and Iran, that is Iran Chabar Port Agreement, that is held on 13th of May of this last Monday. Here India and Iran signed 10-year agreement for the operation of Chabar port, marking a significant milestone in their cooperation. राइट कि इंडिया एंड ईरान ने चाबार पोर्ट से रिलेटेड 10 इयर्स का एग्रीमेंट साइन किया है. पहले भी ये एग्रीमेंट साइन था बट इट इज़ नॉट फॉर लाइक 10 इयर्स. वो एनुअली एग्रीमेंट हुआ करता था कि एक एनुअली आप साइन कर रहे हैं चाबार पोर्ट से, लेकिन दिस ईयर ये साइन हुआ है फॉर 10 इयर्स एंड उसकी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि अगर रिलेशंस अच्छे रहे तो मे बी इट कैन बी फॉर 100 years ऑल्सो. राइट. This port is located in southeastern Iran in the Shishant Baluchistan province. It is called Golden Gate to Central Asia, landlocked country of Afghanistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. यानी ये जो आपका ईरान है ये landlocked country है with these 3 countries, और this is very helpful for India to enter in a furthermore country Central Asia. Right? Okay. This contract signed between Indian Port Global Limited (IPGL) and Port and Maritime Organization of Iran (PMO), which involve substantial investment and development initiatives. यानी जो ये agreement हुआ है between 2 organizations हुआ है. From India it is Indian Port Global Limited and from Iran it is Port and Maritime Organization of Iran. IPGL will invest approximately $120 million in equipping the Shahid Beheshti terminal, enhancing the port efficiency and capacity. India has extended a credit window of $250 million of mutually identified project aimed at improving Chabar related infrastructure, emphasizing its commitment to regional development. According to this, सिर्फ चाबार पोर्ट से ट्रेड एंड उसके लिए नहीं किया गया है एग्रीमेंट. ये एग्रीमेंट मोस्ट प्रोबेबली इसलिए किया गया है बिकॉज इंडिया विल इन्वेस्ट एंड डेवलप करेगी जो भी चाबार पोर्ट से रिलेटेड चीज़ें हैं वो, और वहाँ के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑल्सो, लाइक ईरान का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उन सबको डेवलप करने में इंडिया हेल्प करेगी. वाई चाबार पोर्ट इज स्ट्रैटेजिकली इंपॉर्टेंट टू इंडिया. अब इंडिया ये सब कर रहे हैं, वाई क्यों कर रही है उसके लिए भी उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस है. राइट. व्हाट इट इज़. चाबार पोर्ट विल बूस्ट इंडियाज एक्सेस टू ईरान, द की गेटवे to the international north-south transport corridor that has sea, rail and road route between India, Russia, Iran, Europe and Central Asia. ये इसलिए किया गया है, क्यों इम्पॉर्टेंट है इंडिया के लिए, क्योंकि दिस चाबार पोर्ट हेल्प करेगा उनको कि वो सेंट्रल एशिया, रशिया एंड यूरोपियन मार्केट्स में एंटर कर सकें. लाइक इट इज़ अ गेटवे फॉर इंडिया.
गुड मॉर्निंग, माय नेम इज रुचि शर्मा. G20 शिखर सम्मेलन ये 90 देशों का और यूरोपियन संघ का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर स्थापित एक मंच है जहां पर इन देशों के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष के द्वारा मुद्दों पर चर्चा करके अपने अपने देश के हित करने का मौका मिलता है. इस मंच की स्थापना 1999 में किया गया था. इसकी स्थापना का उद्देश्य वित्तीय संकट के बाद वित्त मंत्री और केंद्रीय बैंक के गवर्नर के लिए वैश्विक आर्थिक और वित्तीय मुद्दों पर चर्चा करना है. हर साल एक बार G20 शिखर का सम्मेलन आयोजन होता है और सितंबर 2023 भारत शिखर सम्मेलन का अध्यक्ष किया. G20 में शामिल 90 देश है जैसे ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ब्राज़ील, अर्जेंटीना, कनाडा, चीन, यूरोपियन संघ, फ्रांस, जर्मनी, इंडिया, इंडोनेशिया, सऊदी अरब, दक्षिण अफ्रीका, तुर्की, इटली, जापान, रूस, यूके और यूएसए है। G20 में शामिल यह देश विश्व के सकल घरेलू उत्पाद का 85 पॉइंट का स्थान रखते हैं और वहीं विश्व की जनसंख्या का 2/3 हिस्से का प्रतिनिधित्व करते हैं। वही वैश्विक व्यापार का 75 पॉइंट से अधिक का योगदान करते हैं। 2023 G20 शिखर सम्मेलन ये सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था वाले देशों के साथ जुड़ने और अपने आर्थिक हितों को बढ़ावा देने का अवसर प्रदान करेगा। G20 शिखर सम्मेलन में गरीबी, असमताएं, जलवायु परिवर्तन जैसे मुद्दों पर संबोधित कर भारत को भविष्य के खतरे का समाधान ढूंढने में मदद करेंगे। G20 शिखर सम्मेलन में भारत को वित्तीय विनिमय और स्थिरता से जुड़े विषयों पर चर्चा में भाग लेने का मौका मिलेगा। G20 शिखर सम्मेलन का आयोजन 90 से 10 सितंबर तक भारत की राजधानी नई दिल्ली के प्रगति मैदान में किया गया है। G20 लोगों का और विषय भारत के 2022 में इसकी अध्यक्षता का पद ग्रहण करने के साथ निर्धारित किया गया था। G20 लोगो भारत के राष्ट्रीय तिरंगे से प्रेरित है। थैंक यू।
Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to throw light on a pretty relevant topic in the election season this year, which is polling stations. I'm pretty sure most of us would have visited a polling station for the first time in this election. So basically, the polling station, which may have one or more polling booths, is the nerve center and the beating heart of the election process. It is where the voter goes to cast her vote. In the ongoing elections, almost 970 million electors are enrolled to vote at more than 1 million polling stations around the country. How are polling stations set up? Under Section 25 of the Representation of the People Act of 1951, the District Election Officer, or DEO in short, is responsible for setting up polling stations in the district and publishing their list of voters. Each polling station should be at least 20 square meters in area and serve 1500 electors at most. Every village with more than 300 voters is provided with a polling station, and no voter should have to travel for more than 2 kilometers to cast their vote. Polling stations are set up preferably in government or semi-government premises. If necessary, private premises can also be requisitioned either with owner's consent or by force under Section 160 of the Representation of the People's Act. What should be the layout of a polling station? Entrance and exit for voters must be separate. The voting compartment, which is positioned away from doors and windows, is built with opaque corrugated plastic sheet or steel grey flex board, so it's pretty difficult to see through. To ensure a smooth voting experience and efficient polling personnel duties, each polling station is provided with adequate furniture, proper lighting arrangements, clear signage and separate toilets for male and female voters. The Election Commission of India has set out strict norms to ensure that the 88.4 lakh persons with disabilities registered to vote can exercise their franchise easily. All polling stations must have ramps and provide wheelchairs and designated parking spaces close to the station for persons with disabilities voters. Transport facilities are made available for such people with impaired mobility, such as some senior citizens as well. For the visually impaired, EVMs and dummy ballot papers have braille facilities. Who is permitted inside polling stations? Access to polling stations is restricted. Those who can enter include registered electors, polling officers, candidates, one polling agent per candidate at a time, authorized media personnel, public servants on election duty, Election Commission of India appointed observers, and a few others. A polling party comprises of a presiding officer and 3 different polling officers. The first officer verifies the elector's identity. The second applies indelible ink on the left index finger of the voter, maintains the voter's register and issues voter slips. And the third officer takes back the registered slips, issues the EVM's control unit, and ensures that the elector has been properly inked before casting their vote. Many people may take voting for granted, but I feel that it is not just a constitutional right, but also a responsibility towards our nation to go and vote. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all present there. As coincidentally, my and Ruchi's topic is same. So most of the things were covered by Ruchi, but in Hindi. So I will just cut short my topic into some important things. First of all, Vasudev Kutumbakam. We all are aware of this slogan. This was the slogan of 2023 G20 summit, which was held in September in India. And this motto means one earth, one family and one future. This slogan means basically the motto was life. The motto of G20 2023 was life. That means lifestyle of environment. So what is G20 and why it is known as G20? The G in 20 represents the group of the 19 nations, including, as Ruchi said, Australia, Russia and many other nations, and one is the European Union, which is a group of many countries in Europe itself. Secondly, G20 is an intergovernmental forum for economic cooperation. Basically, it provides the financial funding for each and everything that is governed in the world, right? So it has tie-ups with the IMF, the Monetary Fund, and World Bank. And thirdly, G20 was formed in 1999 with significant to solve significant issues like financial stability, digital economy, climate finance, climate change mitigation, sustainable development. And from past few summits, we can notice that G20 is going through a change, and it is considering environment as its primary objective. Like we all are experiencing environment change, right? So G20 summit, which will be going to held in Rio de Janeiro in 2024. The motto of G20 is building a just world and a sustainable planet. So I will just cut short things. And what was the role of India in G20 2023 was, first of all, to gather climate finance for green development. First of all, we focused on green development. Secondly, we focused on accelerated growth, which was inclusive and resilient. That means we will not grow independently or monotonous, but we will take the whole world and we will grow. And thirdly, accelerating progress on SDGs. SDGs is sustainable development goals. Fourth plan was technical transformation. Fifth was multilateral institution for 21st century. Multilateral institution were like we are aware of SAARC, the small groups that the countries make. So we were emphasizing on a small group of countries which totally thinks about the environment, right? Sixth was women-led development, women empowerment, right? Thank you. This all were the role of India in G20 2023.
Good morning everyone, my name is Sonaksh Negi and today I am going to talk about why Panipat was stage for so many empire shaking battle. So first of all, it's going to be short and simple. I'm going to say it in 3 steps. First is that Panipat was close to an ancient trade route called Grand Trunk Road, which was used for trade between India and other countries like countries from Central Asia in ancient time. It was used for trade and invasion, making it crucial for controlling movement of goods and people and armies. The second reason was proximity of Panipat to Delhi. Due to the close distance between Panipat and Delhi, the one who conquered Panipat would eventually conquered Delhi and control over Panipat to assert dominance over Delhi region. The third reason was the vast and enormous land of Panipat, which was perfect for huge scale battles. That's all. Thank you.